Ambassador Ikechi was speaking, he talked about the power of women. He talked about the power of African women. He talked about the power of daughters. Well, unfortunately, Captain Quainoo doesn't know what it feels like to be the father of a daughter, because he has 2 sons, and he has told everybody that he has retired. He's flattered and flown when it comes to childbirth. But Ambassador, trust me, for a father of many daughters, I know how it feels. Girls are super. I'm saying this because we're going to acknowledge women from this point on. Women who have achieved, and some of their stories will excite you. Before I introduce the first woman, I hear one of the women is hiding out here somewhere. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Commissioner of Police Mamitiwa Adodampa, who is also the Executive Director of Iyoko, Republic of Ghana. Mamitiwa, if you are here, would like to acknowledge you. There she is. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of a very good friend of mine, a woman, a medical doctor, who at a very young age proudly became the personal physician of the then President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Ama Anda. Ama, where are you? Over there. There she is. Before she turned 40, she was the president's doctor. Now that's an accomplishment. Now who me tell me where? Me where? Osabe Mampajo me where? Reason why I'm acknowledging all these women, I'm sure there are other women amongst us. If we didn't get to mention your name, it is not deliberate. It's just not being brought to our attention. Our next speaker is a woman. Now, I don't know how to describe her, so I've just written a few things. She has accomplishments and achievements in the fields of finance, law, technology, entrepreneurship, and wellness. The kind of woman that back in the day will say, "Baby on your bed." Simply brilliant. Please welcome to join us, Nana Amwako Eni.
Good evening. Thank you. It is a privilege and an honor to be standing in front of royalty, as well as Nana and all the achievements of this amazing book that we have had the chance to behold. I only have a few moments in time to celebrate this incredible occasion, standing here to share my impressions of this incredible book and some small vignettes about my life and how it all conjoins together. I have a sense of awe about this book because I've always wanted to fly. I think we can all say that as children, right? I've always wanted to fly. I've been in planes and looked through the cockpit and wondered, how did he get there? How could he fly this? And he did. When I picked up this amazing book, there were a few things that jumped out at me. I spent evenings sitting on my couch, sometimes in tears, sometimes laughing, but very hopeful. And one of the things about the book that scaled to me was that it said that Nana wanted to excel consistently. Excel consistently. So I want to tell you a story because I was asked to come and speak, and the question was posed to me about the boy child. As a woman, I'm not going to stand up here and start a debate about the genre of boys and girls, girls against boys, about who supports girls and who supports boys. But what I'm going to do is stand here in awe of a 6-year-old boy who wanted to fly and was laughed at. A 6-year-old boy whose mother told him that there weren't opportunities, but he still consistently made it. She offered those opportunities to him as she prepared bofroats at 4 a.m. in the morning for days and years on end. I went to a private school. I was raised offshore in the lands of Virginia. I went to a school that had 500 acres of land, and I swam and did lacrosse with girls who had blonde ponytails with purple ribbons in them. And I was that one African girl who had a dream. But I was the one African girl who had resources, who had parents that always had a warm, well-ordered meal, always had a flight for me to go away for the summer. And let me tell you a story, Nana, about a young man named Darren Williams. I went to high school in Virginia. He played for the basketball team at one of the public schools. He was one of the best basketball players in the city. He was 16 years old. When he turned 17, he got a car. But don't tell my dad this. He used to come and pick us up, and each time he came to pick us up, he was driving a different car. A Land Rover one time, a Porsche one time, a Lamborghini even one time. But eventually we all graduated from high school, but he didn't graduate because he didn't have the resources, and he ended up dropping out and he sort of disappeared. Fast forward, I ended up at New York City at Columbia University. 4 years later, I graduated. A few years later, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, and I went to law school. And all this while we were living separate lives, this girl and that boy. A few years later, I was asked to come to New York City, and I moved back after graduating from Columbia and going to law school. And I was appointed as an assistant district attorney in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I was one of 3 women of 90 classmates. I was only one of 1 woman who was of color and of 90 classmates. Fast forward to Darren Williams. On the day of my swearing in, I'm wearing my suit and my outfit. I'm standing on the front steps to get photographed. And I noticed somebody walking up the walk near Center Street. It was Darren Williams. As I put on my suit and grabbed my briefcase to go into my first day of my first big thing, I noticed something about Darren. He was wearing handcuffs. I walked in, I got into the courtroom, they assigned me my case file, I was ready to go. It's all about chances and opportunities. I opened up the case file, I looked at the rap sheet, and I noticed Darren Williams. I went to the arraignment court, I stood up in front of the judge and I said, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm here to arraign case number," and I stumbled. 25 years to life. Darren Williams. And that's what I said. So as I just backtrack to this story about my scenario, about chances, about 2 people, a boy and a girl, let's fast forward, coming back home on shore to Africa, to Ghana, where we can say that as of 2023, about 40% of the population is 15 years old or younger, and 50% of the population are boys, and 50% of the population are girls. What about the boy child? What about Darren Williams if he had those resources and he was able to make it out and do something? One of the smartest kids in the city, one of the best basketball players. What if somebody believed in him? What if we gave him a chance? What called out to me as I framed this up to look at this beautiful book that was written off of my own experience that I had shared. The 6-year-old child, the lens he had, of all the places he went, of all the homes he didn't have, of all the places he couldn't sleep, of all the opportunities he didn't have, he continued to excel consistently because of God, luck, and grit. But what if we had the resources like we do to build those huge skyscrapers here in Accra, to build those buildings so tall and bring in the soil engineers and the architects and all the great minds to build these big buildings. What if we had and gave the resources to build Nana when he was 6 years old? Although he strove and he thrived and he made it to become one of the most historical pilots in history, what if we built him like that building? What if we constructed him and allowed him more of that avenue early? I celebrate the boy child. I celebrate the chance. And as I leave you here tonight with all the small wins in my own story and the really grand wins in Nana's story, I say to you this: the book and its ending was powerful, but of all things that was said, it was excelling consistently, making a home of chances and choice, and thriving, and fluttering and flying for the boy child. Thank you, Nana. Congratulations.
I'm a jubilating fruit, swinging the visible joys of a breezy day. I remain the hefty tongue of conscience, housing the cheeks of time, awaiting the next eternity to speak light to this chaos of the world. In the ring of the elders, they say the king is elder, but even the king has a mother. Oh, yeah. Chiawa. Who are one year can't be a that's when they over. I won't be dean. Until now, also, dear. Timosunia from Mama. If somebody in Accra, Nakamufa, Trading what to find so. Nankamufra before therefore down for the Kukusi. Or why a cargo in Shiano. Hunter who shoots without missing. Who taught me that all men sleep, not only the weak? Sleep is for all men, and so while all men sleep, others dare to dream, for dreams are the preserve of the chosen. All men sleep. The chosen dream, yet others dare to wake up from their dreams and lend feet to them. For this life is simply that dream you woke up from nothingness in eternity to sleep into reality. I take that again. While all men sleep and the chosen dream, others wake up and lend feet to their dreams. For this life is the dream you woke up from nothingness in eternity to sleep into reality. And so keep calm when you meet the waves and they threaten to swallow you. They just can't hide their excitement at the greatest thing you are about to be. When a woman is in labor, she does not rejoice. But after she has delivered, then she calls for celebration. I have been called to a matter older than me in years, but I have been called to a matter akin to me in spirit. For I know the power of a dream. And so, when the king sleeps and has a beautiful dream, he wakes up. Some will doubt, yet some will race with him. Until an answer says, hey, you remember that? You see, when they are doing that's when you so when the tune shall swap, make with you as some struggles of man will they begin at the simply say that when a man takes his first steps, he stumbles and falls also. Seven day and night, but one up into so. And then he learns that helper is rare. Helper is the one who gives you half of his last muscle. Or what one in here, or Jennifer, it's the day I could do with fear and sign the tree and paper said a pass. A child is born of one whom yet he is one traveler with so many journeys to be survived. A child becomes the father of the man, where all his long short life is said. He's either at the peak of the mountain or has a story flipped over. I simply remain the harvester of dreams, housed on the junctions of time, observing how men begin that race when they have told the Creator the day on which they come here and the missions they come to pursue. And so, sleep. Sleep. Sleep You are chosen there to dream. But after you have dreamt, to wake up and lend feet to your dreams. And just maybe, you might find the wings to flutter and fly. If you left me to this issue, I could spend 17 stanzas on an introduction. Now, so the ordinary someone's opinion. As some say, if I do not add your accolades, do not fault me, I did not come to demote you. And the writer king who sips communion wine from the calabash, and tonight I came to pour libation. Someone knew by the simple name, if you allow me to speak frankly, you're not Quainoo, about Chop, every 2 months, sorry, if you wake one another, earth will receive you gently. If you dare to take a few more steps, birds will applaud. If you manage to come up here, this is the summit of everything we came here to do tonight. And then when you speak, there will be silence. For you have dared to beat the drum of war, go to war, win war, and come back home to tell, carrying the spoils of it. One more, Jimmy, African, Akokun, Edin, Kulima, San, the Fia, the Don, Kunkun, and you want send the Asadia check. Here, ye Timo Swafel, Mama. Ghana Munti. We have learned to celebrate our heroes while they are young and while they are with us. Sir, the world awaits you right here at the center where you dare to dream.
Excellencies, honorable ministers, special guests of honor, head of institutions, and indeed, everyone here. Good evening, and I welcome you all to tonight's program. I am most grateful to you for choosing to spend your evening with me and help launch my book, Flutter Until You Fly. A book about my journey to becoming currently the only Ghanaian to have flown and captained the Airbus A380, the biggest passenger aircraft in the world, and the first person to captain the Airbus A380 on its maiden flight to Poetic International Airport. The flight on the 2nd October 2018 lifted the spirit of the nation in particular and the continent as a whole. And it generated excitement, gave hope to the youth, and many believed what is possible. Thank you all so much. Please allow me the privilege of acknowledging some of our very distinguished guests who have graced our special event. I am grateful, greatly honored to have Mira Menanano, practically the entire essence and soul of the Capt here with me tonight. And this means a world to me. Capt is the very soul from whence I come. Thank you so much, Mirano, for gracing the occasion in such splendor. It is no secret that I wanted to join the Air Force. I find myself very lucky to have the military hierarchy here tonight. The kindness of our military hierarchy, and in particular, our Air Force to grace the occasion in such style is truly humbling. And I'm most grateful. Tonight, the Air Force is represented by their most accomplished and senior members. Users and Madam are amazing and transformative figures, and I'm honored to have you with me tonight. Thank you so much. We also have various business leaders who have not been mentioned. Mr. Ali Seydi, Chairman and CEO of Maricopa Group of Companies. Mr. Francis Bain, CEO of Imperial Homes. Mr. Frank Jemfi Yabua, Executive Director, Imperial Homes, Reverend Corsa, who is representing Reverend Dr. Mensa Kutabo, General Overseer of International Central Gospel Church. I'm immensely grateful for your kind presence tonight. I have my brother, my sister, my uncle, and a lot of relatives here. Thank you so much for coming to support me tonight. I cannot continue without thanking former Ghana's Consul General to the UAE, His Excellency Daniel Jose. You've been amazing. Thank you. I have my schoolmates and schoolmates and a lot of the characters in the book also here with me, and some of them are the military generals and army generals. In Marimamba, I will speak primarily on 3 topics tonight. First, I want to share with you why I made Flutter onto the flag. Secondly, I will talk about the Capt. Quainoo Foundation, which I set up to impact the greater good through giving. Thirdly, I want to share my dream and vision for the aviation potential in Ghana. Why Flutter onto the flag? I wrote this book primarily for 2 reasons. First, to inspire a strong belief in what is possible, so our communities, and in particular our youth, can see value in dreaming big, sticking with their dreams, persevering no matter the hurdles, and achieve their dreams, because it is not only possible, it is doable. I'm a living proof. I gave copies of my book to security personnel and cleaners at my accommodation complex. Now they see the possibilities. Now they believe they can also dream. Is it just for the youth? No. In Flutter Until You Fly, I discuss angels like Jerry John Boone. His daughters are here with me tonight to come and celebrate this great occasion. Mr. Dominic Sapon, Madame Gladys Amwenima, and her family are also here to support me. They were angels, among others, whose kindness empowered to realize my dream of becoming a pilot. They nurtured and supported me fully. Bold and comprehensive empowerment yield amazing results, and the evidence is clear. Empowerment does make dreams come true. The book is also for the angels, educators, and all of us. One of my mentees, after reading the book, recommended the book be made available to all senior high school students. I say it is for the street kid, the university student, the business person, the angels, and all of us. A few people who have had the privilege to read the book ordered copies for their old schools. I then mentioned Kumasi Academy. They were the first to buy 20 copies for their school. In fact, Pim also bought lots of copies for their school. We donated about 50 copies to Koforidua Sector. And one of our old schoolmates promised to add more to Koforidua Sector. We also have copies at the Presbyterian Women College of Education in a break. Most of our youth who need the book cannot afford it. I need the angels to buy as many copies as possible and distribute to all school libraries across Africa. Our youth need to read and learn how to dream, flutter their wings through the hurdles until they fly. Secondly, I wrote this book, among other things, to generate financial resources to help empower those dreams and make them manifest as realities. Thus, to inspire and empower are the two primary reasons I wrote Flutter Until You Fly, and share the inspiring story of the unwanted child who endured hardships, including years of couch surfing from home to home, at the mercy of friends, not having a place to call his home, enduring periods of severe hunger, to street hawking and more, to achieve a lifelong goal of becoming a pilot, a desire and a dream I had as a child at a tender age of 6. The Captain Quainoo Foundation. Aviation potential in Ghana. Aviation is my passion, and Flutter Until You Fly delves into my dream and desire to become a pilot, and the journey to achieving it. As possibilities in aviation grows, becoming a pilot barely scratches the surface of what is possible. The global demand for aviators, from pilots to engineers to crew and more, makes the aviation industry a force to reckon with. It presents enormous economic opportunity. To put the enormity of the opportunity in perspective, when I landed the maiden Airbus A380, the biggest commercial plane known to man in Accra, it was historical and acclaimed a big deal. I understood its significance and symbolism. However, imagine having those A380 flights to Ghana daily. For many years, Mauritius, a small African country with a population of less than 2 million, a fraction of Ghana, has been receiving and sending those A380s daily. Emirates Airlines operates Airbus A380 twice daily to Mauritius, and sometimes 3 times a day. The global demand for pilots presents a significant opportunity to build and operate modern flight school and produce good, competent, world-class aviators. With strong engineering programs in our schools, we can become a true aviation hub, not just for the sub-region, but the entire continent. The airline maintenance culture requires efficient and masterfully trained expertise, which presents a marvelous niche of good and well-paying jobs. United Arab Emirates, glad to be represented by the ambassador, His Excellency Khalifa Yusuf Al-Zabi, gave me that opportunity and have shown what is possible in aviation. Ethiopia, our African neighbors, is a force to be reckoned with and has demonstrated to us that it is possible. Nananom, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream deeply rooted in the possibilities the aviation industry presents in modern-day Ghana. I have a dream that Ghana will one day rise and live out its true potential, its true role as a major global aviation hub by becoming the destination of choice with world-class maintenance facilities, manning first-class engineers trained in our flight schools and universities. I have a dream that one day every Ghanaian child who aspires to become an aviator will have access to world-class education and training facilities here at home, with the resources to empower achieving their aviation dream. I have a dream from a private charter planes to mammoth commercial routes. I have a dream that one day, and soon, Ghana will rise and make its true mark as a global aviation center. I have a dream. I will end by asking all in Meribamba to stand and sing our school anthem. In Meribamba, come on, let me hear you. In Meribamba, can we sing our school anthem, please? Will they remember? They will remember. Say, Meribamba, arise and shine. Meribamba, arise and shine. Educate for services and motto, which we so much dearly cherish. Meribamba, arise and shine. Meribamba, arise and shine. Educate for services and motto, which we so much dearly cherish. With love, unity, and godly fear, we are always successful in endeavors, and so we cry again. Arise and shine, and shine. Arise and shine, and shine. Meribamba, arise and shine. Always forward as we set. Arise and shine, and shine. Arise and shine, and shine. Meribamba, arise and shine. Always forward as we set.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero. And here we are, flying until we fly. Mr. Hassan Kalkuli, Ambassador Ike, Squadron Leader, Modern Group Captain Selassie, Abanefia, and of course, our first officer, Priscilla of South Paris. Thank you very much for helping us do this. And so the book is open. Okay, what's the next guy that's coming?
A 17-chapter book that has elements in the pages of the book that can be read. What I'll try to do is to give some